Good afternoon, America. Let's make America conservative and great again. My name is John Estrada with Conservative Roundtable, and today our guest will be Steve A. von Loor. Steve is a great American working very hard to help Hispanics get a better position in the political process. Steve, welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
You've had a pretty amazing life. From my understanding, you've got a business going, and you're doing a lot of good things in the political arena. Why don't we get some background on who you are, Steve, and then we'll go to some of the other stuff. You have the great picture you have of your family too. If you want to start there, that's okay. Go ahead, take it away.
Oh, well, thank you. If you can see on my website, on my bio, I was born in Birmingham, Alabama. In 1978, my mother was passing by, coming from a doctorate PhD from Spain, going back to Ecuador. And basically, the airlines told her that she wasn't able to fly. So I was lucky enough to born in this great nation. After that, my mother took me back to Ecuador, where she raised me. She's a single mother. And I lived in Ecuador until I was 20. When I came back to the U.S., I've been a resident of the great state of North Carolina that I call my home since 1998. I came with a few $100 in my pocket. I start from, I wouldn't say the ground up. I was lucky to have some friends who helped me to find a job. And I went my way up from the restaurant industry, the auto mechanic industry, all the way up until I was a medical interpreter for workers' comp. And after that, I started a business as interpretation and language services for the workers' comp industry and some legal offices too. That's basically the part about my work experience, and then I was lucky to find some great mentors here in the state of North Carolina who pushed me to be part of the Republican National Hispanic Assembly in North Carolina, where in 2015 I was elected the vice chairman, and I was helping with the Hispanic engagement across the state of North Carolina. After that, our state started helping the national Republican National Hispanic Assembly, where I started working as a social media coordinator, looking for new leaders across the nation who will be able to help us on this mission, that is to find new leaders to help the RNHA and the Republican Party.
What is the National Hispanic Republican Assembly? What do you do?
Well, the mission of the RNHA is to empower Hispanic Americans to run for office, also to bring them to the Republican Party, because the Republican values align with the conservative values that we as Hispanic Americans have already, that it was taught by our parents grandparents, and great-great-parents.
And what are some of those values that you see that Hispanic Americans are relating to conservatives and Republicans?
The most important is that we believe in God and we love God. The second one is that we share the family values. We respect life. We are pro-life. We believe that abortion is a crime. And we also know that working hard is the pathway to prosperity.
Now, loyalty. The Latinos of yesterday have been very loyal to the Democratic Party. And can you tell us from your perspective what have they gained by being loyal to the Democratic Party?
Well, let me tell you, I was one of those Hispanic Americans who was part of Democratic Party, not because I chose to, but because I was lied to, and they pushed me to be part of that party. And just to tell you a quick story, when I went to get my driver's license in North Carolina, the lady at the DMV asked me if I wanted to register as a Republican or as a Democrat. Because I just got to the U.S., I didn't know the difference between the two parties and their beliefs and their values. My answer was really simple. I said, I just don't know. I just got here. And she was a really smart woman. She told me, well, do you know the word democracy? And I said, oh, yeah, of course. So in our Hispanic American countries, the word democracy means freedom. Because some of our countries, they are oppressed by dictatorship, they are oppressed by governments who are corrupt. So word democracy for most of the Hispanic Americans, it means freedom.
So that you can sort of add that to the list also. Freedom and liberty means a lot to Hispanic Americans.
Exactly. That lady wrote on my driver's license, and she registered me as a Democrat.
Mm-hmm. And you thought democracy was Democrat?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what they are playing. That's the way that they are lying to the Hispanic American, that democracy is aligned to freedom. And it's the other way around. The Republicans are the ones who will show the freedom instead of living entitlement and government assistance. And that's one of my key talking points when I speak to the community. That when we come to America and we leave our countries of origin, we come searching and seeking for the American dream. And we know that we will work hard for it. So when we got here, there are so many organizations who they say they help Hispanics to blend in the community. But they basically what they are doing is they tell you that we are entitled to live from the government. And that's why our community is getting that assistance because they don't know. And as a part of the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, our mission is to explain that the only pathway to prosperity is the hard-working community, the hard-working people, who will make them understand that we don't need entitlement.
Now, what do you think about education for your children and for Americans' children?
Well, right now the education it's a whole mess with the Common Core. I believe that the traditional education is better than a government imposed education. And one of my mentors here in North Carolina, she ran for superintendent of public instruction, and she's a pioneer on traditional education.
Mm-hmm.
And one of her quotes is, "It doesn't take a village to educate our children." And that's what I believe.
Yeah, sure. So you support choice. You support a parent's right to choose the kind of education their children are supposed to be getting.
Of course.
That's freedom and liberty to me.
Exactly, that's freedom and liberty. We can choose how we want to educate our children, and also we can choose what type of health care we should get, and we don't have to be imposed to just get what they want us to get.
You're from North Carolina. That state is looks like very competitive for Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. I think, if I remember correctly, Donald's leading that state. Can you sort of give us an update on how that's going?
Well, actually, the Trump campaign coming numerous times to the key cities in our state, and they are filling up stadiums with supporters. Also, the other campaign, they are doing the same thing, but on the news, it looks like the media is trying to cover up the amount of followers. The only issue is that the ACLU from North Carolina is very open against our governor, who supports Donald and his campaign.
What are some of the issues there in North Carolina that our listeners could understand what is going on? What are the key issues there?
Well, one of the key issues right now, it was when Hurricane Matthew came on the East Coast, that we had a lot of damages in North Carolina. And our governor is been doing a fantastic job to help North Carolinians. But he's been attacked because he signed a bill that protects our women and our daughters from people who will try to use the transgender excuse to get into the women's and locker room.
That's terrible. That's really terrible. To me, a woman's restroom is a woman's restroom, and a man's restroom is a man's restroom. And, you know, if there's any doubt of what you think you are, there should be maybe a third restroom that is for co-ed, I guess. I guess that's the way they would do it.
Yeah, I agree with you totally. But you have ACLU and some other activists for gay rights. They have been trying to play the words. The actual bill and the actual law, it doesn't say anything against the LGBT community.
Yes, yes.
There is no discrimination against the LGBT community. And as Republicans, we have been given that evil picture that we are against them, and we are not. We respect what they are. We respect their choice. We are all God's creatures. So we just respect it. And when they say that there is an act of discrimination, we all have rights under the Constitution of the United States of America. So
You mean we still have a Bill of Rights and we still have a U.S. Constitution?
exactly.
So what are other issues that are happening in North Carolina?
The other one would be the raise on insurance premium.
Oh, you mean
Premiums.
the government there wants to raise the premiums, or is that Obamacare?
The Obamacare, it's been now going down where the premiums are going up.
Wow.
And people who don't meet the criteria.
So let me ask you this: if the people that need medical coverage can't afford their coverage, they're going to lose it. And isn't there a law that says that they have to have it or they go to jail? Is it a criminal act not to have insurance?
Well, it is not a criminal act. Basically, it's at the end of the year you will get penalized on your tax.
Okay, so it's a tax. It's really not a tax. And if you don't pay your taxes, then what happens?
Well, you know, the IRS will come and find you. The IRS will take the money from the bank.
Yeah, and so there it is. You're not doing good, and you lose your money too.
Correct.
That's very bad news. Well, okay, so here we are. We're in 2016. We're like 2.5, 3 weeks away from a great election, November 8th, 2016, and you have Donald Trump that we need to somehow get elected. For Latinos, Latinas, Hispanics, what would you say? What would you say would be the reasons why you would support Donald Trump?
Well, at this moment, I haven't been open in supporting Donald because he started his campaign, I believe, in the wrong way. I don't know what happened with the Hispanic coalition that he tried to build it.
Uh-huh.
I believe that they should find another strategy to get to the Hispanic American community.
Well, let me just pose a question to you, because you're a very influential Latino in America. You're Republican, and from my point of view, Donald Trump needs your vote. Donald Trump needs a lot of votes to win this election. Now, I am biased. I'm supporting Donald Trump 100% because my feeling is that Hillary Clinton would be by far worse than Donald Trump because she basically has two positions. She's got a private position and she's got a public position. And, she thinks we are needy. She thinks that, we're like sheep. All she has to do is snap her fingers and we have to come running to her and take care of the Democratic Party. To me, based on all the corruption and inside deals and friendship deals that she has, to me that's by far, it takes away from a lot of important issues that we should be concerned about. And so my hope, and I would hope you reconsider and take a stand. I hope hopefully the Hispanic Republican Assembly takes a stand and support Donald Trump, because he's definitely, from my point of view, a heck of a lot better than Hillary Rodham Clinton.
I agree totally with you. I don't want Hillary to be part of the leadership in our country. To say that I haven't endorsed Donald Trump yet, it doesn't mean that I am not pushing not to vote for Hillary Clinton, and they need to vote Republican. The Republican National Hispanic Assembly wants the inclusion of Hispanic Americans into all the Republican Party.
Yeah. Well, you know, Donald Trump does have a Hispanic board.
Oh yes, but some of them they resign.
Well, we have one from our state, Jesus Marquez. Do you know Jesus?
Oh yeah, he is a great leader, and I am really happy to see that he is part of the Donald Trump Hispanic Coalition. We have been talking many times about it. Yes, I agree that we need to give all our support to him, but we also need to listen something coming from him that show the Hispanic community that we are being included. Of course, Clinton said that we are needy, and I don't agree with that. And I hate it, because basically it's like we are beggars. We are not beggars. There are so many influential people who are Hispanic Americans who worked all the way from the ground up that will be against what she said.
So you're saying that's the great insult of the decade or the day when they say Latinos are beggars.
Exactly. And that's how I made my post on social media saying, you see how you guys are being seen by the Democratic Party? First of all, they started with the Taco Bowl.
Yes.
It's okay. I don't mind to be called a Taco Bowl, because we as Hispanic Americans, we have so many cultures, beautiful cultures from any country, and we are a mix.
You know what? When I was growing up, I was in elementary school. They called me taco and burrito. I don't know how many times. I thought it was pretty cool. I never even thought it was something bad. I always say, hey, that's pretty good. They think I'm pretty cool. I have a taco and a burrito.
Exactly, but you know what's funny? You can see how racist the Democratic Party are, that they don't know that the Hispanic American, there is over 15 countries, from Mexico all the way to Argentina. They don't know their culture.
Yes. You know,
why they don't know how to engage to our community only by saying, oh, we are going to give you free stuff.
Yes, yes. You know, it's really amazing. I do know discrimination also. I think many Latinos or Latinas have had discrimination, and it's not really, it's truly how to deal with discrimination is how we overcome that problem. Like, for instance, when I got out of the United States military service in Navy, I was traveling here in the Central Valley of California, and I went to get gas. In those days, I don't know if you remember, but the gasoline stations used to have full service. They used to clean your windows and pump your gas and do all the stuff, check your oil and do all that stuff. Well, they don't do that anymore in California. And so I pulled into a gas station one time, and what happened was that nobody came. Nobody from the service station came in to service my car, whether pump gas or clean my windows or check my oil, whatever it was. So I got out of the car, and I seen somebody was there, and then some other car pulled up right next to me to the next pump, and sure enough, the guy comes running out. He went over to clean the guy's windows and checked his oil and pumped his gas and did all that. So the guy took off. I went over to the guy and says, "Oh, by the way, I need to have service, sir." And he says, "We don't serve Mexicans here. We don't serve Mexicans in this gas station." At that time, I was so in the military. I just got out, and I was just squared away, and my hair was short. I looked totally, American, but I was Mexican.
Right.
And so the way I handled that was, I said, okay, fine. I went to the next gas station and pumped my gas. And I really never gave it another thought until later on, when I started getting involved with a lot of Latino Hispanic organizations, the American GI Forum, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I was very, very involved early on in the 80s with those organizations. And so I learned that the best way for us to compete against discrimination is through economic development, economic opportunity. Let's use our resources, our financial will, to achieve victory.
Correct. That's one of the strategies that we need to implement as Hispanic Americans all together.
Yeah, so I would say at this point in time, going back to Donald Trump, if you were to talk to Donald Trump, and let's say you had a one-on-one conversation with him, what would you need from him? What would you need from him to achieve his vote? What could he say? What could he do from your viewpoint to get your vote?
A simple apology would suffice to accept that he made a mistake. The mistake that his numbers were all wrong when he said that 9 out of 10 Mexicans crossing the borders are rapists. That's wrong. I have so many friends who are from Mexico, and they are not rapists. And we need to start looking at race as racist. There are criminals in all races. So he got it wrong.
Yeah, I think his wording, he had a poor choice of words. I agree with you 100%. And he does have a way of sometimes being in a position of saying things that don't are maybe crude or a little bit not politically correct. Definitely not politically correct. But on the other hand, dealing with Hillary Rodham Clinton on the abortion issue, like you were saying early on that Latinos were very pro-life. Hillary Clinton, from what I understand, would not mind if a baby was aborted one day before birth. And to me, sometimes crude words are not as damaging overall than from truly actions of saying that a baby should be aborted one day before birth.
I agree, and that's some of our message to our Hispanic community, that we cannot support a woman who will say it so loud that it's okay to kill a baby. And then they realize, the Hispanic community, they realize that.
Well, Steve, I would definitely get our tape and our conversation over to Jesus Marquez. and I will definitely support that. Maybe it's time for Donald Trump to I'm going to say restate his words in a more better fashion. And see if there's some way that he could say, well, those words were not the right type of words at the time, but this is really the bottom line on how I feel about Latinos. He does hire a lot of Mexicans in his casinos, in his development projects all over America.
Exactly. I agree with you.
And so, yeah, he might, and I truly don't believe that he really believes that 9/10 of all Mexicans are rapists and criminals. And I just don't believe that. I think it was just a bad choice of words. He was at the stadium, and we have all done it. I've done it too. I've been making presentations, and you say things that you should never have said. But, at the end of the day, I think that would be a very good political strategy for him to clarify his words and say, look, explain to the Latino community in America, not just Mexicans, because, like you say, there's a lot of Hispanics of different cultures from all over the world, and not just Mexicans, but everybody's important, and all lives matter. And so, restate the words you said. You got a chance to recover for what was said earlier. How would you restate it?
The way that it should be restated is that, yes, to secure our border is not because of the people coming to America searching the American dream and a better future for their kids and their family back home. They are coming to America to work hard. If we show them that working hard to abide by the rules of this great nation, we will get the respect of everyone. And yes, we know that because of the border is not secure, the criminals and the terrorists that they are coming to America. They are not coming only on our south border. They are coming from the north border too.
Well,
they are coming on planes and they overstay, like what happened on 9/11.
Exactly.
People were here for a long time planning an attack.
Well, I think there's no question. I think there's no question that Latinos are very loyal to America and they love America. Anybody that thinks that Latinos are there to do harm, they're totally out of factual facts in that issue.
Exactly. So we, as Hispanic Americans, we love this country. We love this great nation.
Yes, we do. And
parents, if we were the second generation of immigrants, we love this country. Why? Because we saw our parents work hard so we can have a better future in America.
I first got involved in politics and the political arena back during Ronald Reagan's time, early on in the 80s. I don't know if you know this, but back in 1983, the American GI Forum led a national drive to get Dr. Hector P. Garcia the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He was the first Mexican-American to receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest award America could give, the President can bestow upon a citizen. And he was a Mexican doctor from Corpus Christi, Texas, medical doctor, and he was also a veteran during World War II. But he was also the founder of the American GI Forum, and I'm happy to say that I had my part in that historic movement, a nationwide movement. In 1984, Ronald Reagan gave Dr. Hector Garcia the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and it was my idea to start it. And I took it up throughout the American GI Forum, and we had 100% support, and thank goodness that we broke the ice, and after that, many Latinos have gotten the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Wow, that's nice. What year was it?
This started in 1983, and Ronald Reagan gave it to him in 1984.
Well, I was born in 1978. I could not remember those things, but I could remember is the words of my mother. What she told me about the Ronald Reagan is that he is a great president.
Well, the 80s were the decade.
Make our country better.
Yeah, the 80s were the decade of the Hispanics. I don't know if you heard that term before, but 1980s was the decade of the Hispanics. A lot of things changed in the 80s. And we worked very hard with organizations, LULAC and the American GI Forum, the Hispanic Chambers of Commerce, and we started as a Mexican-American Chamber of Commerce, and we felt that it was best that we'd start changing it from Mexican-American to Hispanic and to include everybody of Latinos.
Great.
So that was some of those early days, and so I got very involved in that. During a lot of this time, I was a Democrat also. And I didn't even think about it. I was really a Ronald Reagan Democrat at the time. I was a conservative I've been a conservative all my life, so my values have not changed at all. I've just changed political parties. I've always maintained that the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, doesn't say anything about political parties, and it's just a matter of how you are and what your belief is, and you're right, we do believe in God. I believe in God, and that determines a lot of how I feel and what I do. So in the best case scenario, how do you think it's going to work out for Republicans? Do you think that they're going to be able to survive this infighting?
I really hope so. I really hope that we as a Hispanic community, we come together and we realize that the Democrats, they just are pandering to us to get the votes so they can stay and remain in power, and they can just continue doing the same things they've been doing for the last 30 years.
I just realized a long time ago that there was a statement that somebody told me. They said that if you're not involved in the political process, you're not at the dinner table, you're the menu.
It's a good way to put it.
And so, if you look back, way back when, during Bill Clinton's time as governor of Arkansas, he was making $35,000 a year to be governor. Both him and Hillary were not that wealthy. Today, from what I understand, they're millionaires by like 35 million or something like that. And it's amazing how they made money being public servants, supposed to be helping society and helping Americans. It seems like they use a lot of people to be part of that menu. They've always been at that dinner table, and so Latinos during that whole process, we've gained a lot. We've done a lot better. But you're right. It's through hard work. It's through being smart. And I'm happy to say that our younger generations are taking advantage of education. For a long time, we had a very bad dropout rate. And so, education is so vital. It creates freedom, it creates liberty, it creates jobs, it creates a lot of good things. So
exactly. Let me go back what you said about the Clintons making money out of public service.
Yes.
But I'm going to quote Harry Truman.
Yes. Do it.
You can't get rich in politics unless you are a crook.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm from the school that Hillary has to be the most corrupt politician running for president ever. I just don't see how that she should be running for president. I really think she should be in jail.
There is a post I put on social media about an article who was written by someone outside the U.S.
Yes.
And she calls Hillary the queen of the disaster.
The queen of disasters?
Yes.
Yes.
She's creating so much trouble around that we don't know what, if she's elected, and how we're going to end up.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think we definitely need to be focused on making America great again, and I hope that your membership in the Hispanic Republican Assembly, how big is it? How many states are involved?
Well, we are expanding. We recently chartered the Nevada State RNHA, who is really getting a lot of attention.
Yes, cool.
We have two people who I believe they are running for public office in Las Vegas. So they are getting a lot of attention. We also have the Illinois chapter, the California chapter, North Carolina, Virginia, Texas. Out of my mind, I'm driving, so I don't have the list with me.
Okay.
The Georgia, the Oklahoma, the chairman for Oklahoma, she is part of the National Faith Coalition.
Wow.
Yes.
All right. So there's a lot of states that you're involved in. If somebody wanted to become a member of the Hispanic Republican Assembly, how could they do it?
They can go to our website, rnhanational.org, or they can find us on Twitter, on Facebook. We have a page per state. So if you live in Arizona, you want to be part of our members, you can go to RNHA-Arizona, and you will see, and you will just join.
Yes. Well, that's pretty cool. And so that website again is what?
rnhanational.org.
Okay, when I repost this broadcast, I will make sure I put that website in there so we could put that out to more and share it to more friends in America.
So the final thoughts are, as Hispanic Americans, we need to vote thinking about the future of our kids. And Hillary Clinton, he will not give our children the future they deserve. We will fall into an abyss with all the corruption coming from countries who support her foundation with millions of dollars, countries who hate gay rights, who kill gay people in the Middle East, countries who suppress women. How can you support a woman who says it's a champion for women's rights if she is receiving money from those countries who oppress those women? So we need to realize that our best option is our Republican nominee. Yes, he did say, he did use the wrong words, but the message is to protect our children living in the United States, bringing the jobs back to America and secure our nation from future terrorist attacks.
You know, I think that's a very good way, definitely a very good way to put it. You know, and I do like the line "Queen of Disasters." I think that fits very well. We have a nation that every president has to follow, and that's to protect America from domestic and foreign enemies. So I think that's way up in things to do for a president and commander-in-chief, to protect the military, to protect our veterans, to protect our homeland, protect our citizens overseas. It's a big job. It's a great responsibility. And if you look back in the history of the Secretary of State, Hillary Rodham Clinton, that doesn't pan out very well in her experience. I think that's bad experience. Steve?
So basically, she doesn't have an experience. The only thing she had was that she traveled all over the world on taxpayers' money.
Yes, a lot of taxpayer money. I think we're now $20 trillion in debt, and it's growing. With under her administration, it'll probably be maybe close to 30. And so many people haven't talked about the actual damage, disaster that could take place with Hillary Rodham Clinton administration. I think it would be terrible. I think it would be a dark ages for a lot of Americans, or most Americans. I think it would only get worse. You know, going back to that immigration issue, you know, I remember Ronald Reagan, you know, he did sign an amnesty in '86. And during that time, everybody knew that was going to be the last amnesty. Because everybody agreed to that they would start living by the process, there would be no more illegal immigration, everybody would follow the rules, and here we are, how many years later, 20 years later, whatever, we're back to the same old trouble. We have a lot of illegal immigrants, a lot of sanctuary cities, and it's really I don't think you know, it's unfair to people that are paying by the process or doing what they're supposed to, waiting for years to become a U.S. citizen, and for them to lose their rights to somebody that comes here illegally. What do you think, Steve?
Also, you need to remember one thing. Obama, it's been called the deporter-in-chief.
Yes.
He's been the president in history who has deported the highest number of people. He's been the one who built so many families in the United States. So, if he was tendering the vote back on the first election saying that he would pass some type of immigration reform within a year, he didn't do it.
Exactly.
He had his Democratic Congress and he didn't do it.
Yes, exactly.
He waited until there was a Republican Congress to try to impose an executive order into the American citizens. It doesn't work that way. And he's been on video and audio where it shows that he said, it's not that I can just write a law. I need to follow the Constitution of the United States. And it was interview that he had with Univision reporter Jorge Ramos.
Yes, yes.
And you know Jorge Ramos is really tied with Clinton campaign.
Yes.
He is trying to put the bad picture on our candidate, our nominee, while he's playing that card, the racial card.
Well, you know, it's not only the Spanish media, but it's all traditional media. They are definitely putting they're trying to make the news, not report the news.
That's completely correct. It has to be a compromise between the American people and the Hispanic American community, where there's a win-win situation.
Well, you've got...
We can make, like Donald said, we can make America great again.
Okay, let's go to that, because that's a very, very important point. Let's make America great, which includes Hispanics and Latinos and Latinas. Now, to make America great, including Latinos, Latinas, and Hispanics, whatever, what are some of those things we need? What is that, instead of us being the menu, what do we need at the dinner table? What is it?
It's very simple. There are so many Hispanic Americans who are living from entitlement. And this is what I tell the people I talk to. We can do better to achieve prosperity. We don't have to live off entitlement. That's a stop to you guys. The only way to achieve prosperity is when you take responsibility for your actions and you work hard, like everyone in this great nation has done for so many years. And we will get there. And that will be our compromise as a Hispanic American community to make America great again, not for us, but for our children and our great children, because they are the future of our nation.
Okay, so if we're fortunate enough to have Donald Trump our president, what would you expect for him as president?
We should start with bringing those jobs back here so we can get people to work, so they can stop getting entitlement.
So you're saying regulations, there's too many regulations in America?
Of course. That's why the companies are leaving to other countries to have their factories built.
Yeah.
In those countries where they are getting less regulation. It's like Ronald Reagan said, it's a trickle-down economics.
Yeah, it's no doubt about that. Definitely a trickle down. And from Hillary Rodham Clinton's point of view, it's that we're needy. We're needy, and we're like sheep. We're beggars. We need to go out there, and we need the Democrats to save us. Which I told her I subscribe to your philosophy and not hers, and that is hard work, family values, God, freedom, and liberty will get us to where we need to be. And democracy, the true democracy, is freedom, and freedom means that we should be Republican. Well, we've got just got a couple of minutes left. If you want to do a quick follow-up on contact information, a quick follow-up on anything that we have not covered, I think this will be a good time for you to fill in the blanks.
Well, to fill in the blanks, our website is rmhanational.org, and to our powerful Hispanic American community. Don't believe what Clinton says. She will continue the same Obama's agenda, where she will deport more people. She will use your vote. She will put a stop to you and your children. There is no prosperity if you vote for her. The only pathway to prosperity is to search inside of your values and see that the Republican values are why we left our country to come to the greatest nation in the world, the United States of America. But for the past 8 years, we are not the greatest nation. And we need someone who will make the United States of America the greatest nation in the world, and Clinton is not that person.
Amen. Steve Von Loor, thank you so much. It's been a great opportunity to hear our discussion, our conversation, and I thank you for the service you're giving to people in America. And thank you, and look forward to working with you anytime. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. I hope you reach out to my friend, Mr. Marquez, and I hope that he can talk one-on-one with Donald.
Yeah, in fact, while we were in our conversation, I got an email from him. He invited me to a Hispanic debate rally tomorrow. They're going to have some Trump dignitaries there, so which was pretty cool.
I still have faith in Donald that he will accept that he made a mistake of using the incorrect words.
Well, I think that's definitely a good way to put it, and I think that we will see if there's a way that he could restate what was said before, because I really truly don't believe he believes that. I think it was just words that were misspoken at that time. But Steve, thank you for being our Conservative Roundtable. We will be again on tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And look forward to having you with us. Thank you, all, one and all. God bless. Have a great day, and let's make America great again. Goodbye.